You never planned to feel this way. You didn't wake up one morning and say, "I want someone years older," or "someone barely out of college." It just happened. A look, a laugh, a moment that hit you in the chest like thunder wrapped in silk. And suddenly you're asking yourself questions no one ever taught you how to answer. Is it wrong if she's much younger? Am I a fool if she's older? You don't ask out loud because you already know the world has opinions. It always does. But love, real love, doesn't check ID. It checks for life, for chemistry, for that rare, silent gravity that pulls two people together, whether the world approves or not. Here's something few people dare to say out loud. Age gaps don't ruin relationships. But denial does. Because love isn't just measured in years. It's measured in what those years contain, power that's been earned, insecurities left unspoken, wisdom built through heartbreak, hunger disguised as romance. A younger woman can make an older man feel like time is bending backward. Her laughter, her curiosity, it stirs something in him. Not just desire, but memory. She makes him feel relevant again, like there's still a blank page ahead. But is that admiration or quiet dependence? Is he truly loving her, or just trying to outrun something inside himself? And an older woman, she can feel like shelter after years of rain. Steady, clear, deep. She doesn't need to impress. She's lived through storms and come out quieter, stronger. But if her past is still bleeding, she may ask you, without words, to carry a weight that was never meant to be yours. And love, real love, can't survive when it becomes rescue. Let me tell you about Adam. He was 42 when he met Sophie, 24, at a photography retreat on the coast. Her laughter didn't just fill the room, it cracked something open in him. She said he made her feel protected. He said she made him feel alive again. In the beginning, everything shimmered. Dinners lasted hours. Every glance felt electric. But seasons changed. She dreamed of Bali and backpacking through Europe. He preferred quiet Sunday mornings and long talks about mortgage rates. It wasn't love, it was longing wearing love's disguise. They weren't building a future. They were borrowing from each other's missing pieces. Then there's Michael, 28, full of fire. He met Claire, 39, a novelist with eyes that saw right through him. She was grace and thunder all at once. She calmed his storms, gave his chaos direction. But slowly the warmth shifted. Her encouragement turned into quiet rules. Her wisdom became law. And Michael found himself hesitating at every step, asking, would this disappoint her? That's not love. Love doesn't ask you to shrink. It doesn't mold you into a version that fits someone else's past. Real love meets you where you are and grows with you, not over you. Here's what no one puts in the love stories. Age gaps don't just add complexity. They amplify everything. They take quiet insecurities and turn them into thunder. Desire feels bolder, intoxicating even. But so does fear. Fear of what others see. Fear of what you might be hiding from yourself. And judgment? It's not subtle. Your friends don't say it outright, but you feel it in their silence. Your family leans in with that careful concern that sounds like love but feels like doubt. Strangers glance too long. The waiter hesitates before asking, separate checks. The woman at the next table sips her wine and leans in to whisper, as if she already knows the whole story, without ever knowing your name. You think you can ignore it? At first you do. You laugh. You shrug. But if you're not grounded, if you haven't asked yourself what you're truly doing there, those outside voices find a home inside your mind. And suddenly they're not whispers anymore. They're questions that keep you up at night. But clarity is armor. When you know exactly why you're there, what you want, what you give, what you refuse to trade, no whisper can touch you. Because a man who knows his truth doesn't flinch at someone else's noise. Let's talk about the exchange, because no matter how romantic it feels, there's always a silent trade. Maybe she brings youth, beauty, a kind of warmth you forgot you craved. Maybe you bring stability, experience, the kind of presence that quiets her restlessness. Or maybe the roles are reversed. She's the one with years behind her, grounding you with calm. You're the one with fire in your eyes, reminding her of dreams she thought were gone. It works until it doesn't. Until admiration sours into quiet resentment. Until nurturing shifts into control. Until what once thrilled you now drains you. Because infatuation isn't a window, it's a mirror. It doesn't reveal who she truly is. It reflects what's missing inside you. And when that mirror finally breaks, when the shine wears off and real life steps in, you're not left holding her. You're left holding yourself. And the ache of everything you tried to avoid. And time is never silent in age gap love. It doesn't wait politely in the shadows. It joins you at breakfast. It walks between your footsteps. It sits at the dinner table saying nothing and everything. Sometimes it whispers, "She's still becoming, you're already arriving." Or, "He's racing forward, you're learning how to let go." You can't outrun it. You can't pretend it's not there. All you can do is ask the question most couples avoid. Are we growing in the same direction? Because love, as powerful as it is, cannot defy gravity forever. If your timelines drift too far apart, the bond starts to stretch, first gently, then painfully. And one day, you wake up beside someone who no longer feels like a partner, but a reminder of the distance you never wanted to see. Love needs alignment. Without it, even the deepest passion begins to slip through time's quiet fingers. So what's the answer? It's not walking away. It's waking up, with your eyes wide open and your heart unmasked. Ask the hard questions before the fantasy sets in. Am I chasing youth or choosing a future? Is she drawn to my strength or hiding in it? Are we growing something real or just covering old scars with temporary comfort? And here's the one that matters most. If her age changed, if the glow dimmed or the wisdom faltered, would I still choose her? Not for what she gives me, but for who she is when everything else fades. Because love anchored in time eventually crumbles with time. But love rooted in truth, it deepens. It breathes with the seasons. It stays when the mirror shatters, when the silence comes, when the world changes shape. That kind of love doesn't age. It evolves. And that's the only kind worth keeping. You don't need their approval. You don't need their permission. What you need, truly, is to understand yourself. Because age gap love isn't a mistake. It's just loud. Loud in the stares. Loud in the whispers. Loud in the way it pushes you to face the shadows you've been avoiding. The fear of time slipping away. The fear of ending up alone. The fear that without someone younger, wiser, more vibrant, you'll disappear. But when you stop grasping at youth, when you stop trying to rescue someone just to feel needed, and instead stand grounded in who you are, something shifts. The noise fades. The judgments blur. And all that's left is something rare, a connection that isn't about age or need or fear, but truth. And truth is the only kind of love that stays standing when everything else falls quiet. So if there's one truth I want you to carry, it's this. Love doesn't ask how old you are, but it does ask if you're honest. Not with her, with yourself. If you choose to love someone across the years, older, younger, it's not wrong. But it demands awareness. Not just of who they are, but why you're drawn to them. Don't fall for the glow, the thrill, the idea of who you want them to be. Fall for the reality. Choose her not for the fantasy she reflects, but for the soul she lives with every day. Choose him not just for the fire in his eyes, but for the steadiness he brings when the world turns cold. Because fantasy is fleeting. It burns bright and burns out. But clarity is what remains when the spark fades and all that's left is the truth between two hearts. Let them judge. Let them laugh. Let them call it strange, selfish, desperate, whatever helps them sleep at night. Because they don't know your story. They don't know the quiet moments, the real conversations, the ways your souls recognize each other beyond time. But you do. You know your truths. And when you build love on that foundation, on self-awareness instead of approval, you don't need validation. You don't need applause. Because what you're creating isn't for the world. It's for the two of you. And the kind of love that grows from truth, not image, doesn't wrinkle with age, doesn't crack under opinions, doesn't fade when the spotlight moves on. It deepens. It roots. It becomes the kind of love that lasts, not because it's loud, but because it's real. And real love, honest love, never asks permission to exist. Have you ever been in an age gap relationship, or quietly wondered what it would reveal about you? Tell me your story. Not for validation, but for reflection. Because somewhere out there, someone else is asking the same questions, and your voice might be the answer they need. Like, share, subscribe. And remember, the soul doesn't age, it only deepens.